I never thought I would leave Russia. But here I am living in Portugal and have no regrets. Just a few. 6 years ago, I packed my entire life into just one bag and moved across Europe. Why? Well, that's a long story. But today I'm gonna tell you all why I left, the struggles I faced, and whether I would do it all over again. And trust me, it wasn't all sunshine and pastel de nata, but we'll get to that. Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Julia and I create videos about my life, love and travels. So many people used to ask me, why did you leave? Was it worth it? No one really asks this anymore. I wonder why. So today I'm sharing my journey, the good, the bad and the ugly. So if you're thinking about moving abroad or just curious about life in Portugal, stick around. So let's rewind. I was born, raised and lived in Russia for almost 20 years, and for the longest time I never considered living. To be honest, it would never even cross my mind until I went to Italy. I remember I was 19 at the time. I went to Europe for the first time. It was my first time abroad actually. I went to Italy for 7 months as part of my study program at the university, and those 7 months transformed my life completely. I remember stepping out of the airport in Bologna and just being fascinated by the warm wind, the lively streets, the kindness of people. It was so different from the grey and dull winters I was used to in Russia. And not just that, everything was different. The freedom to be who you are, the freedom to speak your mind, the kindness, respect, diversity, politeness. And don't even get me started on food, huh? It was Italy in the end. Don't get me wrong, Russia has its beauty. The history, the culture, the nature. I remember the exact moment of coming back to Russia after Italy and just realizing I didn't belong there anymore. I didn't want to be there anymore. I felt such a strong desire to leave. But not just to leave for the sake of living. I just wanted to live in more countries, learn more languages, explore more, travel more. I realized that the 20 years I spent in Russia were just enough. And there was time to leave. Of course, there were also bigger reasons. Political and economic situation, the poverty, corruption that was pervasive, unescapable, the poverty, the wealth gap between the rich, the poor, the regions, the cities. And it's something I grew up with. I was born and raised in Siberia, in the region of Tuva, which is probably the poorest region of Russia, where people to this very day have no access to basic sanitation, electricity, gas, where crime is so high it's unsafe to leave the house after 7 p.m. And when you grow up, you eventually start asking yourself questions. How could a country with so much wealth, so many resources, could leave its people in such poverty? But you know, Russia has many problems, like any country, right? But what was intolerable to me was the fact that nothing could be done about it. Nothing could be said about it. The things were just going to get worse. I saw it, I felt it. At the same time, I also felt that the society itself was becoming intolerant, hostile. No one trusted each other. And the society was also becoming passive. I saw so many people, and I don't blame them, but they try to live within their own bubbles, pretending that if they mind their own business, things are going to be just fine. But that's not how it works. And we saw it in 2022 when it was already too late. So I made up my mind, I made my choice and decided to leave. So why Portugal? To be honest, I wasn't sure. I knew I wanted to continue my studies. I wanted to do it in Europe. I considered France, Spain, Italy. In fact, I did go to Spain first and I spent one wonderful year in the north of Spain, in Galicia. But I think Spain kind of didn't like me back. Between the visa issues and bureaucracy, I think it just wasn't meant to be. So I just looked at the map and decided to go further south to Portugal. I decided to do my master in Portugal for the reason quite simple. It was easier to get the visa, it was easier to settle long term, it was more affordable. Spoiler, not anymore, but also the amazing weather, I'm not gonna lie. It was a very calculated decision, but also not the smartest decision, as I would find out later. But do I regret it? Absolutely not. As you might imagine, moving across Europe wasn't exactly a smooth sailing. Portuguese bureaucracy, a new language, new culture, new friends, a troubled job market, add to that a global pandemic, war in Ukraine and skyrocketing inflation. Well, you know what I mean, right? Those 5 years were exhausting. While I can probably find 1,000 reasons to criticize Portugal for, I think it's still a beautiful country with beautiful people where you would find kindness in strangers, where you would find openness and freedom and diversity. I think with time I've grown to love it because it's given me a home when I thought I lost it. So my friends, looking back, was it the smartest decision? Maybe not. Was it the easiest? Definitely not. Was it worth it? Absolutely yes. It does take patience, adaptability, a lot of humor, but in the end for me it was the right decision at the right time. And if you're thinking about moving abroad, my advice, do your research, visit if you can, and above all, just go for it. You don't have 9 lives to wonder what if. Now I want to hear from you if you ever considered moving abroad, and if so, where? Let's chat in the comment. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like, subscribe, and be ready for my next video about life. See you.